don't know, now you know. You better get yourself in the flow. And if you don't think that you can, you better find Rob Rant. The Rob Rant Show. The Rob Rant Show. And if you don't know, now you know. The Rob Rant Show. The Rob Rant Show. And if you don't know, now you know. My name is Rob Bell. And this is the Rob Rant Show. Well, as you can see, I'm a little upset. I'm pretty mad, as a matter of fact. Because as I watched the news this morning, I watched law enforcement in a press conference, and they stated that because of the rise in crime in the Buckhead area, they were going to place a police substation to help reduce the crime in that neighborhood, in that area. They were going to place, or they're going to place, a police substation in that neighborhood. Is it a reaction to the young lady who was walking her dog through Piedmont Park and was subsequently murdered, and her dog was also killed? Or is it the fact that crime in that neighborhood has risen, and in their words, not more than 3 weeks ago, crime in Atlanta is not so safe as they said it was? And so are people now complaining in that particular neighborhood that they don't feel safe? And you are, as a law enforcement agency, responding to that? What is it? Why all of a sudden do you want to put a police substation in that particular community? Well, what's got me upset is the fact that when crime and murders and homicides and shootings were occurring in Buckhead, a black neighborhood, in the Bluff, a black neighborhood, in other black neighborhoods and communities across Atlanta, you didn't seem to take that as serious as you are taking the crime that's spiking in Buckhead. Why? Because in the black neighborhoods, I guess crime is crime. And that's the way it's always been over the last several decades. And that's the way it is now. So we expect those incidents to happen. But oh no, when it happens in the exclusive areas in Atlanta, we must take some steps and do something about it and place a police substation in the neighborhood in the event of helping reduce and stop some of the crime. You know, it is so obvious that law enforcement is continuing to play politics with this whole issue of crime, and they wonder why there's a spike. There's been a 60% rise in crime in Atlanta since last year. And because the law enforcement agency in this town wants to continue to play politics and play us versus them, and put us in a position to think that they are doing something about it when we know that they really ain't, we continue to experience the crime at the rate that we're experiencing it. All I'm asking is, I don't have a problem with them putting a police substation in Buckhead, but put a police substation in Bankhead. Put a police substation in the Bluff. Put a police substation in other black areas and neighborhoods in Atlanta and help try to reduce the crime in those particular areas. Why are we continuing to play the us versus them game? And why are we continuing to play politics with the lives of the people who live in downtrodden neighborhoods and trying to preserve the lives of those who live in upward mobility neighborhoods? There's something wrong with that picture, and something has to be done about it. Black people, if you live in those particular areas where crime is being rampant in your area, call your state legislators, call your city council person, call your congressman, because I'm quite sure in Buckhead, that's what they're doing. And that information is getting trickled down to law enforcement, and law enforcement feels the need to do something about that. But because they're not hearing from black people, they don't feel the need to do something about that. We got to get better with this, and we got to stop playing with the lives of our babies and our children in this community, because if we don't, we're going to have blood on our hands at the end of this year. And I say, whoever's running for mayor, you better address this issue as your number one issue and stop playing this us versus them situation. Stop playing this black versus white situation and make it even across the board. Patrol neighborhoods evenly across the board. Provide safety and protection to black people in the same way that you provide safety and protection to white people. Because if you don't, it's just going to be a bloodbath. And we cannot continue to go through this in a city like Atlanta, Georgia, the home of Dr. Martin Luther King. He's probably turning in his grave right now because we don't want to address this issue of crime. Let's get better with this, Atlanta, because if we don't, we're going to suffer. This is Rob Bell, and you're listening to The Rob Rant Show.
If you don't know, now you know. You better get yourself in the flow. And if you don't think that you can, you better find Rob Rant. The Rob Rant Show. The Rob Rant Show. And if you don't know, now you know. The Rob Rant Show. The Rob Rant Show. And if you don't know, now you know.